Hey friends, welcome back. Thank you for joining me for this yoga practice. We just filmed this live session on my roof and I'm here to share it with you. So join me on the mat for a super cooling practice under the wonderful Seattle sun. Thanks. So happy Tuesday. I hope the week's going well for you. This will be our 60-minute practice. It's the last one of this series. Hey, is that Bonnie? Hello. How are you? Yeah. I might not be able to see you because I have a little bit of glare, but I glance over and I check in. So feel free to just leave your camera on as well. So usually we have our cameras on so we can, so I can provide some adjustments and take a look at how everyone's doing. So Bonnie, we're gonna get started in our mats. And if you find that when you use props, like you feel like your alignment is just on par, then I would recommend grabbing some props for the practice. We've all been doing this 2 times already, so we kind of know the flow of what we'll be working on. If you find that you have a hard time touching your toes, then go grab the tie or the strap. When we're doing our Uttanasana, if you want to use blocks to sort of raise the ground, rest your head on that. That's a wonderful option. I might use the props today as well. And then a blanket is handy for our finishing postures. If you have lower back pain when we do Shavasana, it's nice to have a little folded blanket underneath your knees. If you don't have any of these, that's cool too. You can still safely do the practice. Okay. How you doing, Bonnie? Are you all set? I think I see you. Okay. Giving me some sort of hand gesture. All right. What was that? All right. So let's settle in and tune in to our practice. Place your hands on your thighs, on your knees, wherever they land, depending on how you're sitting. And we'll take 3 deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth, just letting out the day, starting with an inhale through the nose. And one last time, inhaling deep, expanding the belly. And then squeezing the navel all the way to the spine, letting all of the air out on your exhale. And allow the breath to just return to its natural flow. And just feel all of the areas of the body that are making contact with the surface. And allow them to feel heavy. Notice any areas of the body that might be harboring some tension, maybe calling for your attention. Just notice. And so our practice has been focused on the Dosha Pitta because it's the season of Pitta, the hot, fiery season. So our practice has been a little slow, focused on cooling the body, cooling the mind. Noticing when we want to move beyond that boundary and just being okay with just enough. So just check in that your palms are facing down. This will allow for the belly to expand a bit more as we move into a little bit of breath work. We'll do a cooling breath just to calm the body, to prepare it for moving and stretching. So if you can purse your lips as if you are about to suck something through a straw, and you'll inhale the air through the pursed lips and expand the entire belly. And then pause for a moment at the top of your inhale, and then exhale all of the air out of the nose. And if you'd like to introduce a little bit of counting to keep the inhale and exhale even, that can be helpful, and sometimes it can cause a little bit of anxiety. So I'll allow you to decide what works well for you. But I'll join you on the inhale, pausing, and then exhaling all the air out of the nose. Inhaling all of that cool air, feeling it surround the belly, and then exhaling it out of the nose. And 2 more times here. And 1 more time. Just allow the breath to return to its normal inhale and exhale. You can start to direct it in and out of the nose. And then just check in on your state of mind. How are you feeling? What's the current affair that's running through the brain right now? And let's see if we can shift our focus on our yoga practice, focusing it on all of the movements and all of the energetic and physical benefits of the asana. And just know that these thoughts and activities we have are not going anywhere. They'll be ready for us when we're done. And if they're work activities, hopefully they're tomorrow. They'll be ready for us. I'd like to bring your hands together, palms touching at heart center. Take a breath here. Let all the air out. And then start to rub the hands together vigorously, awakening the neurons in the mind, preparing the body to move. And release the hands, feeling the energy you've created between them, some of the tingling and the palms and the fingertips. And then slowly, slowly open your eyes. Hello. Welcome back. And let's find ourselves in tabletop position on our hands and knees. Let's warm up the wrists a little bit, preparing them for the weight of our body by circling the body over the wrists. So I'm circling the shoulders over the wrist in one direction. And we'll do this about 3 times at your own pace. Just feeling the weight on all the different points of the palm and the knuckles. And then reverse your little rotation here. This nice little warm up of all of the muscles in the wrists and the hands. Starting to incorporate the breath with the movement. Nice. And then we'll pause here and we'll start to open up the hips. So extend your right leg back behind you, out straight. And then bend the right knee out to the side, kind of like your dog on a fire hydrant. And then start to make some little circles on the right side of the wall, I guess, with your knee. So you're opening up the hip joint, going as large or small as you want with your circles. Just in one direction, and then we'll return and go to the opposite direction. Feeling the muscles of the glutes, all the muscles that surround the hips, and just juicing them up a little. Then we'll place that right knee down, and then the opposite side. So extend your left leg out, heel stretches out far, and then bend that left knee so you're the dog on the fire hydrant, your knees out on the side, and then start to create some little circles or large circles with your left hip, as if you have a nice marker on your knee and you're drawing circles on the wall in front of you. And then go in the opposite direction, noticing if one side feels tighter than the other. I think my left side is a little bit creaky today. And then knee comes down to the mat. And your hands are about shoulder width apart. Spread the fingers wide, tuck the toes, and then we're going to lift the hips up into downward facing dog. Allow the head to fall heavy. Start to direct the breath in and out of the nose. Press the fingertips into the mat. And then you can bend your knees a lot. Tilt your hips up towards the sky and feel the whole spine from end to end elongate. And then slowly, one heel at a time, start to descend it towards the mat. Keeping that nice long stretch in the spine. And if at any point you're losing that stretch, you're starting to hunch, just bend your knees. We're just settling the body and the mind in this very loyal position. And then look forward, and we'll start to step, hop, crawl, whatever you want to do. Bring your feet to your hands. Bend the knees a lot, so your chest is on the thighs. And then your hands can hang low, or you can grab opposite elbows and sway in this nice restorative Uttanasana. Check in on where the mind is. See if you can redirect the focus back on the movement, allowing the back to release, the neck to release. Allow the energy to descend into the cool earth. And then we'll start to straighten the legs. Allow the feet to feel heavy. Spread the toes wide. Engage the knees. And then come up to standing, swooping the arms out to the side, gulping in that beautiful air. And then exhaling, the hands come down to your side. You're in mountain pose. And then just pause here for a moment. We're closing the eyes. And as this is a cooling practice, if you want to exhale out of the mouth, you can do that. The inhale through the nose is really just to generate heat. So that's your option here. So we're cooling ourselves off. Inhale, extend the arms out to the side, bring them up overhead, gaze past the thumbs. And then exhale, forward fold, hinging at the hips. Bending your knees as much as you need to bring the hands to the floor, or you can grab your blocks and your hands can come onto the blocks. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold one more time. And then take a big inhale as you come up to standing, the arms up overhead again. And then exhale all the air out, back to Tadasana. Nice. One more time. Inhale the arms up. Exhale all the air out as you forward fold. The navel comes into the spine. Look at your navel. Then inhale, extend the head forward, lengthen the spine. Exhale all the air out, forward fold. Then inhale, feet are heavy. Come up to standing. Extend the arms high as the feet go heavy into the mat. And then exhale, hands by your side. Inhale, arms up overhead, Urdhva. Exhale, Uttanasana, hinging at the hips, pelvis is strong. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, and then we'll pause here. Feeling the backs of the legs lengthen. Remember, you can bend your knees, no big deal. And then start to feel the weight distribution in the feet, maybe swaying a little forward or back, side to side, till you feel this evenness between both heels and both balls of the foot. And then we'll take our left hand, place it on your right foot, and then your right hand's going to come to the left edge of your mat, twisting the torso open to the left. Hello. Relaxing the face, relaxing the eyes, allowing the attention to come to the right side of the leg in this twisting posture. And then release, come back to center. And then inhale deeply. Take the right hand on the left foot, left hand comes to the outer right corner of the mat and twist open to the right. Really using the leverage of the left foot to twist you open more. But at the same time, noticing if your neck starts to tense up. Maybe backing off just a little bit. We just want to feel the stretch all the way in the backs of the legs, the left side of the back. And then release, come back to center, and we'll go to the second side one more time. So left hand is on the outside of the right foot. Right hand's on the outer left corner of the mat. And then we're twisting open. And then release, second side. Twisting open to the right. Taking a couple breaths here. And then come back to center. Come up to halfway lift. Head extends. Exhale the forward fold. Feet are heavy as you inhale, come up to standing. And then exhale all the air out. This time on your inhale, bring the hands forward, the palms are facing down, and come into a little bit of a back bend, and then forward fold on your exhale. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, your right leg is going to step back behind you into a runner's lunge. Left toes are wide, plant that left big toe into the mat. Feel both legs strengthen. And start to lift up through the right thigh. So allow that to carry the weight of the leg. Pull the right hip forward, left hip back, roll the shoulders away from the ears, and then look forward, steady the gaze. Notice the intensity we can put into the posture. Palms come to the mat, and then step back into a downward facing dog. Fingers are spread wide. Press the fingertips into the mat. Remember, you can bend your knees here. And then look forward. We'll roll forward into plank pose. Move the shoulders away from the ears. Pause here for a moment. Tone the abs, tone the legs. And then knees come down to the mat. Bend the elbows to bring the chest down to the mat. And then the tip of the chin's on the mat. Pull the elbows in towards the chest. And allow the hips to bend up towards the sky as you look forward. And then inhale, bring the hips down to the mat. Come onto your forearms for just a moment here. Bring the big toes together to touch. Roll the shoulders away from the ears. Look forward and start to curl the ribs up towards the sky. into this cobra variation. And then tone the navel and start to lift the hips off of the mats. Breathing here, pushing down through the forearms. And then exhale, come back down to the mats. Hands come underneath the shoulders. Your feet are again together. And then lift the spine up. Sorry, curl the spine up towards the sky. Cobra pose. Elbows are in tight towards the chest. Tailbone's heavy. Elbows are bent as much as you like. And then exhale, release. Tuck the toes and then push the hips back into child's pose or tabletop, whatever you like. And just breathe here for a moment. If you're in child's pose, you can come up onto your fingertips and feel a bit more engagement on the upper back. And then place your palms on the floor. We'll come back up into downward facing dog. Notice how this dog feels different than the other ones. We're getting a lot of dogs. And then I want you to bend your left knee, bring it in towards the chest, and then place the left knee between the feet. Runner's lunge one more time. Notice how your body might feel a little bit more open here. And then step that right foot to meet the left. Uttanasana. Grab your blocks if you like. If you want your little floor extenders, you can do that. Start to move the sit bones away from the heels. And move your heels further into the ground. Feel the backs of the legs extend. And then take a big inhale and extend the head forward, lengthening the spine. Exhale all the air out. And then inhale, come up to standing. Tadasana. Inhale, arms come forward into your back bend. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. And then this time, exhale, and then step the left foot back into runner's lunge. Spread the toes wide. Press that big toe down. And then lift up through the back of the back thigh. Pull the left hip forward as the right hip comes back. Roll the shoulders away from the ears, and then start to gaze forward, softening the face. Softening the mind, feeling the strength of the legs do the work for you. And the asana means seat. That's one of the translations, and it's also we're practicing the asana so we can create a seat for our mind. So with that, let's step our right foot back into downward facing dog. Look forward and check your hands out. Steady them. Steady them. Fingers are wide. The wrist creases are parallel with the front of your mat. Roll the triceps toward one another. And then look forward, come forward into plank pose. Pause here, pulling the arms toward each other, toning the legs. An option to do knees, chest, chin, or you can grip the mat, bend the elbows, and come all the way down to the mat. Chaturanga. Untuck your toes. Come on forward onto your forearms. Into this Sphinx pose, Cobra pose variation. And then bring the feet together. Squeeze the inner heels together. Roll the shoulders away from the ears and start to lift through the bottom of the ribs. So you're lifting up and then back. Allow the gaze to direct past the nose. And allow the forearms to feel heavy. Claw the fingers into the mat and start to raise the navel and the hips off of the mat into this 8-point plank, toning the belly. And then release. Move the hands back underneath your shoulders. Squeeze the elbows together. Tone the legs and start to lift the chest up towards the sky into cobra. It could be a low cobra, a high cobra, a young cobra, a teenage cobra, a grown-up cobra, whatever you want. And they release. Come back down to the mat. Untuck the toes and push yourself back into a child's pose or a tabletop if you don't like child's pose. And we'll take 2 breaths here, in through the nose. And one more long breath. Palms flat on the mat. Tuck the toes, push back up, downward facing dog. Bend that right knee in towards the chest and bring that foot and step it between the hands. Pause here for a moment, feeling how this runner's lunge feels. The second time around, maybe a little bit more open. And then step the back foot to meet the right foot. Urdhva. So inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale your arms all the way up. Exhale, forward fold. Sorry. Exhale, it's mountain pose. So inhale your arms forward, all the way up to the sky. Slight back bend here. Exhale that cooling air all the way down to the earth. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step that right foot back into runner's lunge. Bring the right knee down to the mat. Spread the toes wide on both feet. And then square your hips so that the left hip's going back, the right hip's going forward. And then we're going to stretch out the front of the right leg. So if you want to come a little bit more forward, bringing the left knee in front of the ankle, you can do that here. And just pause at the position that feels really good for you. Getting into the deep muscles in the front of the leg and the hip. And then you can inhale your arms up overhead if you like. Feeling the weight of the feet into the ground as you lift up through the sky, through the fingertips. And then maybe you just curl the ribs up towards the sky into a nice back bend, into a full Anjaneyasana. Allow the breath to cool you as you stretch out these important muscles in the front of the legs. And then bring the hands back down to center. And this is our weird transition when we do that awkward Vashisthasana. So we're going to lift the back leg up. And then we'll rotate both feet towards the left. So you're now on the outside of your right foot. And then your left arm extends up towards the sky. And then you're lifting up through the top left hip as you're pulling the right hip towards the left. And you can extend the back of the left hand further behind you, broadening the collarbone, softening the gaze. And then as you bring the left hand down to the mat, both of the feet are going to come back so they're pointing towards the top of the mat. And then your left heel is going to come down to the mat. So now you're in like a Parsva Konasana position. So your left hand's on the outside of the left foot, or you can grab your block here and place your left hand on the block. Tone the belly. And then the right arm swoops up overhead and lifts towards the sky. Check that your left knee's over the left ankle. And then your gaze can be down at the toes, up towards the fingertips, straight ahead. Start to reach through the back heel And then track the arm over the ear. So you have one long line, like a nice angle here. Feel the whole right side of the body elongate and stretch open from toes to fingertips. Look down and then bring the right hand to the mat. Move your block away if you're using it. And then we'll step into a downward facing dog with the left leg extended up towards the sky. So a three-legged dog. Rotate the ankle a bit here. And then go the other way. And then bend the left knee in towards the chest. Step the foot forward. Step the right foot to meet the left. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, your arms out to the side, gulping up that beautiful air. Exhale all the way to Tadasana. Pause here. Inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold, hinge at the hips. Elongate the spine as you look forward. And then exhale, step the left foot back, runner's lunge. Bring the left knee towards the mat. And again, spread the toes on both feet. And we want to stretch out the psoas muscles and all of the deep muscles and the top of the left leg. So play with your position here. If you want to come a little bit more forward with the right knee, do that. Otherwise, tone the belly. Pull the left hip forward a little bit if your hips aren't so square. And move the shoulders away from the ears. Look forward. Soften the gaze. And if you'd like to bring the arms up overhead, bring the torso up to standing so the shoulders are over the hips. Come into full Anjaneyasana. Tone the belly. Allow the lower ribs to fall in as you extend through the fingertips. And maybe you start to incorporate a back bend, thinking about the lower rib cage lifting up as your fingertips reach towards the back of the room. And gazing past your nose, maybe smiling. And back benders come back up to straight. Bring your hands back down to the mat. And then raise the back left knee. Vashisthasana variation, so both our feet are rotating towards the right. You're on the outside edge of your left foot, and your right hand extends up towards the sky. You can rotate your left hand so it's pointing towards the outer corner of the left of the mat. And then roll the shoulders away from the ears and really pull up out of your top hand. So we're not dumping so much into the left hand. And then lifting up through the hips. Allow the right hip to lift you up. And maybe the back of the hand comes further back behind you. Feeling all of the muscles around the collarbone expand and open. And then we'll bring that right hand down to the mat. Both feet are rotating back, so they're pointing towards the front of the mat. You're in your runner's lunge one more time. And then the left heel comes to the mat. Side angle pose. Grab your block if you want to. Hand is on the outside of our right foot. Tone the belly, open up the hips, and then lift the arm up overhead. Right hand on your right elbow on your thigh is like a great alternative as well. But check that your right knee is over the ankle, and then you're extending through the top fingertips, and then maybe start to track that bicep over the ear. Really pushing through the left heel and pulling through the left fingertips. Feeling one long line of energy through the whole left side of the body. That's how I feel. And then look down. Bring your left hand to the mat. You're back in runner's lunge. Move your block if you're using it. And then we'll palms down, step back into three-legged dog with the right leg extended. So the heel's really pushing up towards the back of the room. And then bend the right knee in towards the chest. Step the foot between the hands. Look forward. Step the left foot to meet the right. Uttanasana, forward fold. One more time here. And you can make it a restorative version if you want to bend your knees a lot. Grab the elbows, sway. Just hang here, really opening the backs of the legs, opening the hips. One more good breath here. And then with your next inhale, extend the head forward. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, stand, come up to standing. Exhale, Tadasana, mountain pose. Inhale, arms forward and up overhead to your back bend. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, right foot steps back, runner's lunge. Look forward, back knee comes to the mat. Inhale the arms up in front of you and then overhead. And then raise that back knee off the mat to crescent pose. Check that your front knee's over your ankle. Really use the back thigh to lift the leg up. Allow the feet to feel heavy as you lift up through both sides of the body. Take one more wonderful breath here. And then with your exhale, bring your hands back down to the mat. And then we'll take that left hand and bring it to the outside of the left mat. Sorry, the outside corner of the left corner of the mat. And Ardha Chandrasana, so grab your block if you'd like to. And your block can be in your left hand. We'll shift our weight into our left foot and raise the back foot, opening the hips. So the right hip's on top of the left. And then your right hand is on your left hip. Sorry, on your right hip. And just pause here for a moment. Spread the toes. Tone the right thigh. Tone the left thigh. And push evenly through both heels. Really create a strong foundation here. And then once the legs feel stable, you can start to extend the right arm up towards the sky. Not losing any of the work that you've done in both legs. So this cooling, challenging, somewhat balancing moon pose. And then we'll bring the right hand down to the mat, the hips square off, and then standing split. So your right heel lifts up towards the sky, and your chest comes towards the left thigh. Bend the right knee in towards the chest. Really allow the left foot to feel heavy, and then come up to standing with the right knee bent. Bring the thigh into the chest. Hands can be at heart center. Pause here for a moment. Strengthen that left leg, and then extend the right leg behind you as the torso comes forward into warrior three. Hands can be at heart center, or you can airplane them open. And if you're wobbling, it's totally fine. Wobble. It just means you're doing something different. And then the full posture is hands extended out in front of you, like you're placing a pot of water on a ledge. Bend the left knee, and then the right foot's coming back down to the mat. Arms are going to extend overhead. We're back in crescent lunge. Bring that right knee down to the mat. Both hands come down to the mat. And then step the right foot to meet the left. Take a big inhale as you halfway lift. Extend the spine away from the hips. And then exhale all the air out, forward fold. Feet are heavy as you come up to standing, taking a big gulp of air. And let all the air out. Second side. Inhale the arms up overhead. Slight back bend. Uttanasana, forward fold. Move the sit bones away from the heels. Now halfway lift. This time that left leg is going to step back into runner's lunge on your exhale. Left knee comes down to the mat. Inhale the arms up overhead. And then raise the back knee up, straighten the leg. Check that your right knee is over the right ankle. So make any adjustments you need to do there. And then bring that left hip forward, right hip back. And just allow the lower body to sink into the ground as all the energy from the upper body comes out through the fingertips. And then bring your hands onto the mat. Ardha Chandrasana, second side. Grab your block if you need it. Your right hand's coming to the corner of the right mat. And move all the way into the right foot as the left leg lifts off to the sky. And then stack one hip on top of the other. So your left hip's on top of the right. And set up your foundation. Spread your toes. Like we were feeling the weight earlier today in our feet. See if you can find that evenness, the ball of the foot and the heel. Lift the kneecap by toning the right thigh, tone the left thigh, push all your weight out through the left heel. And then with this stability, you can take your right hand up to the sky. And maybe you even look at it. Oh my gosh. I'm still a half moon though. All right. And just breathe here for a bit longer. Wobble. Wobble into doing something new. And then bring the left hand down to the mat. The hips square. Reach your left leg up towards the sky. Bringing the chest towards the right thigh, allowing the head to fall heavy. Then bending the left knee into the chest, come up to standing. Your hands will come at heart center. So the left leg is still bent. And just set up the foundation of the right leg one more time. It'll feel differently. We're in a different position. And then leading with the heel, stretch and extend the leg out behind you. The torso comes forward. And you're now in warrior 3. Extend the hands behind you or in front of you. Really squeezing both forearms toward each other without, they're not going to touch, but oops. But by doing all these different engagements, just notice how it affects your balance. And then bend the right knee. The back foot comes down to the mat. Arms are up overhead. Your shoulders are stacked over your hips. You're back in crescent pose. Take a deep inhale. And on your exhale, bring the hands down to the mat. And then step that left foot to meet the right. Uttanasana one more time. Feeling all of the muscles of the glutes, the hamstrings, and the calves. Take an inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms out to the side. Come all the way up to standing. And then exhale the arms by your side. And we'll come back down to the mat to do some of our floor work. So inhale the arms up one more time. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back into downward dog this time. And then come forward into plank pose. Chaturanga, or knees, chest, chin. Inhale into a cobra. And then exhale, bring the torso all the way down to the mat. Come onto your forearms. So sorry, what is this called? I don't know. Your elbow. I kept wanting to say your ankle. I'm like, what is this? What is this piece of my body? Your elbows are under your shoulders. Bring your feet touching and tone the tops of the legs. So by pulling the ankles in toward one another, you should feel all of your legs tone up. And do the same action with your forearms. Without moving the forearms, imagine they're being like pulled together like magnets. And now pull the navel up towards the sky. So recruit the entire front of your body. So all of the muscles around the ribs, around every part of your abdomen. Think about the sides of your abdomen. And now try to calm your mind by using your breath. And if you'd like, you can bring the knees up off so you're just on the tops of your feet for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come all the way down. Cradle your head in your hands. So one cheek can come down to the mat. And just take a nice breath here. Feeling all of the work you've done in the backs of the legs and in the belly. And then move the hands out of the way. So I want your hands on either side of your hip. Foreheads onto the mat. Back of the hands are on the mat. Again, bring the feet together. Tone the ankles. Pull the ankles toward each other to tone the thighs. And then start to lift the backs of the legs off of the mat as one unit. Start to pull the thighs in toward each other. And feel the lower back and the glutes raise the leg as one unit. And hold for 5, 4, 3, relax the upper back. 2, relax the neck. And 1, bring the feet back down. And breathe here. Allow the ankles to just fall out wherever they fall. 1 more breath. And then bring both feet together again. This time we'll raise the legs and the arms. Starting with the legs, tone the thighs. Pull the ankles into one another and start to lift through the glutes to raise them as one unit. Then move the shoulders away from the ears and start to raise the hands up off the mat. Recruiting the entire back. Start to lift the chest up towards the sky. Head comes up. Gaze past the thumbs. The nose. I crack myself up. And breathe here for 1, 2, 3, 4, Shalabhasana. And last one, Shalabhasana. Come back down. I think I started going up with my count and then down. I'm not sure. All right, rest. Okay. So come back up onto your forearms. We're going to do a thigh stretch, half frog. So bring your your left hand to where your right elbow is. So your left arm is parallel with the top of your mat. Bend your right knee a lot. And if you cannot grab your ankle, this is a good time to grab your strap or your tie. So you're going to reach the right arm back, and with your strap or your hand, grab your right ankle and start to pull the leg so the heel is coming towards the right glute. Look forward, move the shoulders away from the ears, and start to square the shoulders. And then breathe here, pushing down through the left top of the foot. For 3, for 2, for 1, and release. Second side. Come onto your forearms. Bring your right fingertips to your left elbow, so your right arm is parallel with the top of your mat. And grab your strap if you need it. Push down into the right top of the foot as you bend the left knee and grab the left ankle with the left hand or strap, and then start to pull the heel towards the chest, heel towards the glute. And if this is really easy for you, then you could start to rotate the fingertips so they're facing the front of your mat. Then square the shoulders off. Look forward. And just breathe naturally. Just be cool. So we're in this like extremely intense stretch. Because that's yoga. And breathe for 2. And 1. Release. You can bring both your hands down onto the mat. Cradle. Make a cradle for your head. One cheek on the mat. And just take a breath here. And then come back up. We're going to push ourselves back into child's pose or tabletop. Knees are wide, about mat width. Then extend the arms out in front of you as the chest comes down to the mat, forehead on the mat. And we'll take 2 breaths here. 1, 2. And then come up to tabletop. We're going to move to a wall. So please grab your blanket if you have one. You'll want it folded in a nice rectangle and then place it right up against the wall. If you have a block, you can use a block as well. What we want to do is you're going to get real close to the wall. So bottom is pressed up against the wall, back is on the ground, and then extend your legs up against the wall. So your hips can be on the blanket or a block. Your hands are in an A-frame out to the sides. And you're just relaxing here. In this shoulder stand variation. And if you'd like to take this into a full shoulder stand, I'd like you to bend your knees and press your feet into the wall. Feel the legs firm, tone the belly, and then start to lift the hips up off of the mat. And then bring both your hands to cradle both hips. And if you can, check that your elbows are in line with your shoulders. If they're not in one line and your elbows are really far out, this is a sign that your shoulders are pretty tight. So this can either be a good thing or a bad thing for you. All right. But tone the belly. Pull the legs toward each other and then extend one leg at a time. And start to reach the feet up towards the sky. Balancing all of your weight on the shoulders. So it's not a neck. We're not putting any weight in our neck. We're just broadening both of the shoulder blades and moving the chest towards the chin. Really squeezing the thighs toward one another and reaching through the tops of the fingertips. And then once you're here, we'll just breathe for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, shoulders are wide, 4, 3, inner thighs are pressing towards one another, 2, and then 1. Bend the knees and bring the feet back towards the wall. Move the hands out of the hips and start to lower the hips down towards the mat or your blanket. And then just scoot yourself back up against the wall, legs extended. And then everyone, I'd like to extend your legs up and then reach them over to the right. So both feet are on the ground. And extend the arms out from either side of you so you're in this twisted position. And you can look to the left or the right, whatever feels good on your neck. Looking to the left is probably a bit more intense. And then we'll just breathe here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bend the knees. Bring them back to center. Extend the legs up on the wall. And then move the legs as one unit all the way over to the left. Repositioning the arms. You're in this nice twisted position. And then looking towards the right or left. Relaxing the back and breathing here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bend your knees, bringing yourself back up to center. Extend the legs one more time. Take one breath here, feeling all of the weight in your hips, sinking into the cool earth, and the whole body calm. And then bend the knees towards your chest and roll over to one side. Pausing there for a moment. And then using your hands to sit yourself up. Then coming to the center of your mat. Sitting in cross-legged, hero's pose, whatever easy position feels good for you. Placing your hands on your knees, the palms facing down. And closing your eyes. Noticing any changes that may have occurred from before and after the practice. Noticing the seat we may have created for the mind to settle. And bring your hands together at heart center. We'll take one deep breath together, in through the nose, out through the mouth. I hope you have a wonderful dinner and a wonderful rest of your day. You can open your eyes, and I will see you soon. I think tomorrow for our our energizing start the day meditation. So thank you so much. If you feel that you do need to do a Shavasana, feel free to lie on your back, legs extended, arms extended for maybe 5 minutes or so. Otherwise, we ran out of time. But I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mildred.
Thank you.